Well, hello, everybody. It's Wednesday.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
So it is Wednesday. So here we are. It's Hammer Away. This is the story of Viking Stew and Judas Priest. I may, just in the future, I may have to take this just one more time because this is massive and it's been a crazy time. Thought I was going to do something a little different today, but not doing that. So I decided to go ahead with this because also what I would like to do is chat about their brand new record. So we'll get into all of that. But what we want to do is just make this as quick as we can. So I also want to look up, I'll be looking this up and see. Hopefully, I can share this on the screen. I know I'm going to get better, people. That's all there is to say about that. The information is great. And let's see if we can do this. I noticed that they had some footage out there of the brand new tour stuff. So that was pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the best one here to check out. Some of these, they just don't look that great. And I wonder if, oh, look at this. Oh, whoa. What? Oh, okay. Wow. They have the whole show. That's kind of interesting. From St. Louis. And it's really amazing. I need to get out here and check this out more often. They got the whole show from 1986 on here. This is kind of wild. Oh, it's the I get it. It's the King Biscuit deal. So anyway, let's go back. And some of the copies of this that you can see out there aren't the best, so I'm kind of eager to see what's going to happen here when we show this. So I want to put this full on screen. It may even look, good God, it may even look worse. Yikes. How long is this? 24. Let's see how this one looks when we do there's me. All right. So yeah, wow. These just don't look great. Makes me want to see about doing it off of my DVD. Let's see how this goes though. We may have the option. So I don't know how many Judas Priest fans we got out there. I'm sure there's some millions of you out there. Hey, what's up, Salvatore? I've been a Judas Priest fan since right around 78, right in there. And I'll get you started on how that happened. You know what? How that happened will take just a second. I'll be right back because I was getting something out of here and I forgot to grab it and bring it out. Okay. Not long. Thank you for your waiting and your patience. What's up, Drew? More. You need more Judas Priest recommendations? All right. Like, give me a little bit of detail on that. Thank you for mentioning that too, by the way. I love how that's part of this is doing a great conversation. If there's something you have a question about, let me know. And you know what else I have today? I got one more of those. So where this all started with Judas Priest back in the day was in about 1978, 79. My brother, who is at that time, he was collecting Beach Boys and playing a lot of Beach Boys. He wasn't the one that had all the records or anything like that. He just had some stuff, and he had Beach Boys. And God, I'm even trying to think of what else he had. I know that he had. I'm wondering if he got Def Leppard. But that was my middle brother. My oldest brother is the one who really collected a lot of records. He's the one that was on the show with me recently. And he had a relatively good sized collection, not like this, but a good sized collection. of things that I would listen to, and we've already been through that, so you know what that is. So this was what was weird. Okay, so back in the day, there used to be, um, well, hi. As I like how you throw me you throw me what you need first, then say hi. That's just fine. Get right to the point. So he wasn't the guy who, you go to for all the music, right? But what he did do was listen to music a lot. So he bought a Mustang. I remember this. He bought a Mustang. It was a 16, I think it was a 69, because his buddy had a 67 fastback. And he got one of the newer models, which was the 69, which is a little wider, a little rounder, not as small, right? It had I do believe, um, it might have had did they have it as a hatchback or something like that? But anyway, he got his, and it was green, like bright green. His friend had a dark green 67 fastback. Beautiful car. And this one was cool too, but it had an 8-track in it. So we collected a lot of 8-tracks at the time. We bought Boston, and he had gotten this Judas Priest. Now, I don't know what possessed him to get it. I don't know if his friend gave it to him. I still have to remember. I'll have to ask him when I see him. Didn't even ask him. But here he was with his big headphones on in the bathroom, getting ready to go somewhere. And I came upstairs and he says, "You got to hear this." Okay. So he had, like I said, he was in the bathroom, right? We don't have a stereo in the bathroom. Stereo's in his room. So he was running one of those pigtail extension cords from his stereo out into the hallway. And then it probably reached to the bathroom, because then to the bathroom, it went to his headphones. This did not hit the floor. This did not touch the floor. He he had his headphones on from his room, and it was up in the air all the way. It was like drawing a string between two cans. I don't know Judas Priest too well. Okay, well, this is perfect for you then. This is going to be perfect for you, because we're gonna go right through it all. So I was like, okay. So the first thing I heard by Judas Priest was this 8-track tape right here. It's called Hellbent for Leather. All right. Most of you know this cover, and it's here. I always forget. My hair covers it up. I found this shirt. I was very pleased to get it. Very, very happy to have this shirt. I love this album cover, but this album was not called Hellbent for Leather here. It, I mean, it was, sorry. How dramatic was that, and how wrong? It was called Hellbent for Leather here before it came here. Let's see if we can find it on the back here, where it is, because these 8-tracks didn't always follow the regular lineup. Where the hell is that song on here? That's so weird. Judas Priest. Judas Priest. I say that a lot. There it is. All right, on program 2, you'll notice here it says Killing Machine. So that was the original title of this album. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So this was the first thing I heard. The first song I heard was on what was it? I was on program 1. So this starts with Take Rock Forever, and then Take on All the World. So he had just listened to Rock Forever, and he says, "You got to listen to this." And I heard this, and I was like, and then blah, in comes this guitar. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't ever hear any metal proper prior to this, especially like a whole record. I'd heard Kiss. That's not metal though, but it was the live album. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I ever heard anything quite as metallic as this, because I hadn't gotten into it all yet. I had just started collecting albums, so Styx had come out. We had some Styx stuff. We had ELO on 8-track out of the what was it? Out of the Blue. We had that, but nothing as metallic and beautiful as this. All right. So this is really where my whole career with heavy metal really started to where I was like, I got to know this band. Before that, it was a compilation record, some things I heard from my brother. Kiss was as close. Kiss Live is as close as I got. Kiss Alive was it. That's about as close as I got. But this hit, Take on All the World, was the track, and I fell in love with it. So I had this, and then we went to a record store over in my former hometown. And as we were going through, they had these long, back in the day when you bought an 8-track, they had these long boxes, which were about as long as the original CD boxes that existed. But these were just a plastic frame. And within that frame, there was this had a box around it, a piece of cardboard around it to keep this safe. And then they clipped those into these plastic frames. And then they'd stand up as tall as a record, and you'd flip through them, which is why they made the CD boxes the way they did in the beginning, so that they would stand in that box and you'd flip through them just like records. Same thing with this. The 8-track would be on top and you just flip through them all the way through. All right. So I did that, and I'm looking through, boom, there's Judas Priest. And what did I find? My parents bought them for me. I asked if they would get them for me. I picked up Sad Wings of Destiny and Stained Class. Now, these are a little different. They had different drummers. The styles were really amping up at this point. So this is the one. This Stained Class is the album that preceded Hellbent for Leather, Killing Machine, right? This one has Les Binks on it, and so does Hellbent for Leather. And then their live album for that tour would have Les on it. Less is more. And then he would leave after that. But we'll talk about that. We may talk a little bit more about Les Binks and all the drummers and whatnot at another time. But let's keep going. So it started into the 8-tracks for me. Then I had to start getting some vinyl, and that's what happened. So then soon after, I started picking up the vinyl. So we have Rock-a-Rolla. And now I'll bring this up a little bit later again. Then I bought my own vinyl of Sad Wings of Destiny. And then this came out at some point. I didn't, let's hold off on that. Let's put this with the other one because they're connected with reissue times. All right. So when they first started on these with Rock-a-Rolla and with Sad Wings of Destiny, they were on Gull Records. All right. Small record label before they got to Sin After Sin, which then was on Columbia Records. And this album was different because they'd worked with John Moore and Alan Hinch on these first couple of records. And let me see here real quick. Alan Moore played on their second record, the Sad Wings of Destiny. Rock-a-Rolla was John Hinch. Wait, Alan Moore. Yeah, Alan Moore. And then on the first Rock-a-Rolla was John Hinch. So bear that in mind because that's going to come back into play here in a little bit. But this album was the first album on Columbia, and also featured on drums on this one is Simon Phillips, who you'll hear about him later when I show this video. So then this album was produced by Roger Glover, the bass player from Deep Purple and Rainbow. He wasn't always the bass player in Rainbow. Jimmy Bain started out as the bass player in Rainbow and then went on to be with Dio, and Roger Glover would then step away and be a part of Rainbow, not Deep Purple. So then Stained Class, there we go. I had to pick up that vinyl as well. This one is where, if I do, since this was produced by Roger Glover, this is where if I, you know what? I think I made a mistake when I was talking about this one once before. And I have to double check it because I want to tell you that it was produced by Tom Allom. And I believe that is correct. That they started working with him on Stained Class. And then kept working with him throughout a good portion of their career. I'd almost say, I'd say the rest of their career, but that's not true at all. Tom Allom would also produce some other great albums in the meantime. He did Balls to the Wall for Accept. Then he also worked with Doc Holliday, a Southern rock band, at the same time he was working with these guys. All right. So then here's where I have a point of contention. All right. Because I let myself down. I let myself down. I used to take these trips. My mom had some, she would work with a church, and she had some meetings and things that she needed to go to over in a nearby town. So my friends and I would pile into the car with my mom, and she'd drop us off downtown. And there was, let's just say three very close by record stores. And we would go to those records. One was a Apple Tree Music, which carried stereo equipment and vinyl. They would have, and probably cassettes and stuff as well. But they had stereos there. Apple Tree Music was about stereos and music. So we would go there. Well, upstairs was their vinyl. So here it was. I'm flipping through. Here's Judas Priest. And here's The Killing Machine. And I didn't buy it. I didn't buy Killing Machine. I'm like, oh, I could kick myself today for not picking that up. I'm like, God, I was right there. And why didn't I pick it up? I don't know. I didn't. I was young. I didn't have a bunch of money. And I'm like, I can't do that, but should have. So, but I do have something on that here just shortly. So I'm really, my fandom is growing with these guys. I am just all about Judas Priest as I'm going along here. I even picked this up. This is a 12-inch maxi single, and it is the Rock Forever. And then it has Hellbent for Leather, you see. And then it has Beyond the Realms of Death, which two things from that. That's from Stained Class originally. Secondly, it's the tune that took them to court, that those two kids who killed themselves were listening to when they offed themselves. So they ended up going to court over that one. Then Unleashed in the East comes out, their live album from Japan. And a great live album, just a single live album. Yeah, that was it. Young and Poor. So this interests me. I don't know Judas Priest too well, just songs here and there. All right. So we'll be getting into that a little bit, but hang with me because I want to tell you a good place to start. We all Judas Priest fans will probably have a different place for you to start. I can assume that some of us might hit on some of the same things and places where to start, but ultimately, we all probably have a different way of going about it. I think, give me just an idea. What's a band that you like and know their music really well through their history, and where would you just throw one out there and then let me know? Let's see. No Rush. The story leads to the songs. No Rush. Oh, No Rush. The story leads to the songs. Okay, I'm with you. But what's just so I have an idea, what's a band that you really like and you know all their music pretty much, and you'd be like, oh, I'm talking about this band today, and you want to get into them, I would have you start here. Because if I know the band and know where you would start with that might help me tell you where to start. It's not like it's going to take forever for you to start. I could tell you to start anywhere, and it'd take you 35 minutes to go through a record. 40 minutes. Let's just say 40 minutes. to go through any record. So it really doesn't matter, I suppose. Nostradamus is a long record, though. So they do have some, they also have some compilation albums, so you could probably go that way. Now, I'm going to be covering these albums again because I'm going to redo a video that I did a long time ago that took way too damn long. And I want to make it fun. That's what I'm trying to do here with you guys. I'm trying to grow a little bit and do some cooler things as I go. Today was a little bit of a mess, and I'm sorry I was running late. Just some things are piling up, and I didn't have the show set up, and I wanted to do something cool, so had to get ready. So then after the live album, they change drummers. Les Binks leaves, and then they get Dave Holland. Dave Holland, you'll find out later again. It'll be told to you in the video that he was a part of Trapeze with Glenn Hughes. And it was, and then he joined up with these guys. Now, I didn't know that at the time. When Dave Holland started, I'm like, okay, another drummer. And I had just gotten into them halfway through, well, right at the end of Les Binks, because he'd already done Stained Class, he'd already done Killing Machine, Hellbent for Leather, and he'd already done the live record, was pretty much out already when I got into them. And so by the time then I'm like, oh, another drummer. So Dave Holland, I didn't know who the hell he was, but I could tell that he was a little older, and that was because he was part of Trapeze. And there's a little bit more to that story. There's an unfortunate part to that story too, but we don't really have to focus on that. So British Steel comes out. Living After Midnight. Boom. You know what? It's going to go against my better judgment, Drew. Just start with British Steel. I think I said it years ago to just start here. If it was a little earlier in the career, I just said start with Hellbent for Leather, Killing Machine. I'd have said just start here. But that's going to be a great follow-up to British Steel. A little step backwards. Part of me wants to tell you to do it the other way around, but I don't think that's the way there is so much of a culmination of what they'd done earlier, especially on Sin After Sin, because I may have you dive backwards into that then, but start with British Steel, because that's when it all really bam. And when you listen to Hellbent for Leather, and if you want, toss a coin, heads, it's British Steel, tails, it's Hellbent for Leather. Either way, you're not going to be wasting your time. They're both great records, but they are a little different, and you're going to notice that. And that's okay, because they're both great records. I mean, great records. I put on Hellbent for Leather. I can listen to every song, not be worried about any song. I'll listen to them all. Same with British Steel, front to back. And it's interesting because not everything on British Steel is just a balls to the wall metal thrasher. It's not like that. It does have some of those, but that's the beauty of Judas Priest. They don't always have to do that. There are times where they just, Painkiller, pretty much balls to the wall. However, earlier on, they did some really interesting stuff. They have a song on Hellbent for Leather that you won't even believe it's Priest. Same on Sin After Sin, and we'll talk about those in a minute. All right. Well, hey, what's up, Carrie Hall? I'm not very versed in Judas Priest, so this is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because I love doing this. Okay, I like finding what ignited their sound. Yeah. So start with British Steel. Now, British Steel comes out. Now, I am this old. I'm whatever I am. I'm a teenager. We go to church camp that summer when British Steel comes out. Well, I find out they're going to come to Pekin, Illinois. And that's just over there, right? So I'm excited. I'm freaking out. But you know where they're going to play? Okay. And I am not well versed in concerts. I have no clue. I haven't seen a concert yet in my life. It's 1980. So we go to, I mean, I've seen concerts, but I've never gone to one. I've never bought a ticket and gone. We went to the state fair and stuff like that. And I saw Cheap Trick. I saw Jay Ferguson and probably somebody else that I don't remember. I just remember Cheap Trick and I remember Jay Ferguson because he had Shakedown Cruise and Thunder Island. So, which I love both those songs. I'd love to play those songs. So, so here they're coming. So I buy a ticket. And two of my friends buy a ticket. Well, I go to church camp and I come back and my ticket says general admission. I don't know what general admission means. I have no clue. I've never been to a concert. So we're at church camp. We're playing whatever, two-hand touch football, right? We're goofing off. My brother drops in front of me and my ankle cocks back like this. And I probably fractured something. I couldn't stand. I'm limping all the time. And I go to this concert. It's general admission. Not only is it general admission, it's taking place in a skating rink in the middle of Pekin, Illinois. I have my ticket stub. I wish I would have gotten it together. Like I said, this is a quicker thing, so I do have it. But so I got a pulled ligament in my ankle. I'm limping, and we show up hours before the show. We're within the first 20 people. I know this. How do I know this? Because I can count, first of all, and I could count back then, but also because a bit before the show, before they let everybody in, they said, we're taking the first 20 people first. I'm like, far out. So we got to go in. Well, I go in. Oh, it's general admission. I know what that means now. It means first come, first serve. But it also, when you walk into the skating rink, no chairs. And no chairs. Just like in the movie, no capes. Here, no chairs. Pulled ligament, yay, no chairs. Fortunately, I got a dude in front of me who seems to have a one-hitter and some pretty nice stuff with him. So he loads me up a couple of one-hitters. That takes my mind off of my ankle, and the show starts. Now, there's a local band in the Pekin, Illinois area that still exists, I believe. You can see videos on YouTube of them. They're called Slick New Face. That was the opening band. I'm sure that they were doing like Pat Benatar. They had a female lead singer, and she was somewhere between Pat Benatar and Olivia Newton-John. You know, if I remember right, in look, right? I think she had a headband on and maybe some tights or something like that, you know, but Slick New Face. They opened up, right? Then they're off. And here we go. It's showtime. The show, I just was blown away. He brought out an automatic weapon with blanks in it over the crowd. As there comes the motorcycle, you know, for Hellbent for Leather, and they killed it. They played Grinder, they played Living After Midnight, they played Breaking the Law. I think they even played. Let's see. You know what? I forgot that this album starts with Breaking the Law. Metal Gods. They played Metal Gods. Grinder. I don't think they played The Rage. But let me tell you, let me just run through this record real quick. Breaking the Law. You know that song. Rapid Fire. Then it's followed by it goes. It's great because it's this fast song, and then it's at the end of it's and then it's like you know, and it's Metal Gods. Love Metal Gods, which is a dirge. That's awesome. Then they have Grinder, which kicks ass. Then United, which is this album's version of Take on All the World. So Take on All the World on Hellbent for Leather is the on this big thunderous percussive tune, right? That's what United is. It's got its own thunderous drum thing, but remember, the other one was done by Les Binks. This one's done by Dave Holland. So it's got United. That ends the first side of the album. Second side is Living After Midnight. So there you go. Breaking the Law, first side, Living After Midnight, second side. And then Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise. Now, that's a cover. And you know, I have to double check who wrote that, because they did covers. They did a lot of covers back in the day. Not a lot, not a ton, but they did covers almost on albums, a bunch of albums in a row. And it's really cool. You ever do that? You just kind of put something somewhere. You're like, why did I do that? Don't have to be old to be wise. And no, that isn't. I guess that's not a cover. Okay, I was thinking it was. So anyway, Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise is a fun song. There's a line in that song that talks about an ant trying to move a rubber tree plant. If you can believe that's a Judas Priest line. I love that fucking song though. It's great. It's so great. So yeah, don't be thinking, what a ridiculous damn song. No, it's a great song. You don't have to be old to be wise. And then after that comes The Rage, which has a great bass line opening. Ian Hill opens that up with this great bass line, which a friend of mine admits, and I should probably start doing it too. He admitted to me that that's one of his favorite warm-up lines. After I asked him to show me how to play it, he was like, oh, that's a great warm-up line. So he started warming up to The Rage. So yeah, let's see what you got going here. I love it. Oh, and it was great. Breaking the law. Have you seen the meme where he's got where Rob Halford's got the rake out and it's raking the lawn? So I go and see this show. I love the show. I fall in love with the show. But again, young teenager, not a lot of money. Had enough money to get the ticket and go with my friends, but I didn't have enough money to buy a t-shirt. That's the beauty of reprints, right? Like this isn't real. It's real. I'm wearing it. It is what it is, but it's a reprint. It's the closest they came to us, I can tell, on the back was Chicago. They played Poplar Bluff in Chicago. But I got this later on down the line. There you go. British Steel. And on the back, it's got the dates. So I love this. So they were, just to let you know, I saw that show on July 25th, 1980 at Pekin Memorial Arena. It's a skating rink. That's what it is. And you know what's weird? They played Busch Stadium 2 days before that. I didn't know that. That's a little something for you and me at the same time. How about that? So yeah, they played here in St. Louis, and then they played Pekin, and then they went up to Rockford, which is up by where Cheap Trick is from. So there you go. So I was very, very happy to get that reprint. Thank you for those people out there who put those things together and help those of us who didn't have the money at the time to be able to spend $22 and get the shirt that they wish they could have had back in the day for 10 or 12. So inflation, it is what it is. I can't wait to do this kind of thing with Maiden. Yeah. So yeah, isn't it though? I just love it. I love it. It's I also, all right, I'm not going to sit here and talk about things that I wish I would have done. I have a banner back there of that album cover. I could have hung it up right here. You guys can put in the chat as to whether or not you want me to go get that and put it up or not. I hate to go around the corner looking for it and not know right where it is. I don't know that I know right where it is. I've moved a lot of things around. Okay, so then here we go into an interesting part of history for Judas Priest for me. Okay. I didn't know this was coming. I didn't know it was happening. It has 2 different covers on it. I have the alternate cover. The first one I like better. I don't know if they've reprinted it like that, but it has a different cover, and my CD might reflect the other cover. But if I can find a picture of it, I'll show it to you. But anyway, I'm going through the mall, and I go to JR's Music, which was downstairs in Northwoods Mall. Music Land was upstairs, and they were a little more expensive. They were more expensive. It is where I got my Jerry Rafferty City to City album, though. It was on sale all those years ago, back in 1970. So then I'm going through JR's, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm checking out Judas Priest. This JR's Music where I was where I purchased Shoes, present tense. If you've not heard that record, it's 1979 power pop record. It's fantastic. Present tense, Chicago band called Shoes. I bought that there. And I also remember buying Tokyo Tapes, the double live Scorpions record from that era, that like 1979, because I think it came out the year after um, um, Taken by Force, which had some great songs on that album. Steam Rock Fever's on there. That was the first Scorpions album I ever heard. So anyway, I'm going through. I find the Judas Priest section, and what do I find? Point of Entry. Look at this. They have like these. This is silly. The original album cover is so much better. I don't know who the hell came up with this. And then they always would use this font back then. This was a popular fat font that they would use on a lot of things. You've seen it before on other things. I think even on a Beatles release, they may have used this font on one of the newer releases that they did. But it was a very popular font. But then this is like computer paper going all the way back, right? Okay, Thrilling, In the Desert. I don't get it. And look at this. You tell me if the back of this album looks like Judas Priest or does it look like a Pink Floyd record? Like, that's a Pink Floyd record. That's not a Judas Priest record. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what they were thinking. Tom Allen is still producing at this point. And this is not my favorite record of theirs. However, I do love pop music. So this has a lot of pop metal on it, and it's fun. Okay. So back then I was pissed, but this album is weird, right? Because it's probably one of my least favorites of theirs. However, it has some of the best Judas Priest songs on it. It's got a couple of big ones. They had videos for Heading Out to the Highway and Hot Rockin', and Solar Angels is on here, and also Desert Plains, which is, I'm sure, remains one of Rob Halford's favorite songs to do live. I remember him talking about loving to do that album or that song live. So, but it's got Troubleshooter, On the Run, All the Way. You Say Yes. I like it now, but then when you hear it, compare it to British Steel, compared to Hellbent for Leather, Stained Class, blah, blah, on and on, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? This will come back into play later down the line on another video that I'm going to do. All right. And I may just record that video and make that video and put it out here. All right. So, but Solar Angels, Desert Plains, Turning Circles. I don't know. And Don't Go. Those are like the pop metal tunes on here. They're like the hard rock pop tunes. All right. So, but you're going to like it. You will like it. I'm telling you, you'll be like, why is that one of your least favorites, Stu? Because some of you may come from a pop, you may come from a pop liking area, and you'll be like, well, I think it's kind of cool. You're absolutely right. I like the record. I don't love it, and it's one of my least favorites. So if you're just going by that, just still one of my least favorites. That's just the way it is. It's just like that. Other albums are so much better than that. And it's just, it was so different, which is what people thought about another album that's coming up here in just a moment. Let's take a look what we got here. Mix up in the graphics department. Wait a minute, Stevens. He was working on the Pink Floyd album. Oh, damn it! It was supposed. Whatever. Just put all the credits on there. Judas Priest. Whatever. Point of entry. These are boxes that have been placed in a specific point. Whatever. That's a beautiful way to look at it, Drew. That's beautiful. Definitely giving another brick in the wall vibes. Absolutely. See? Oh man. Sam says hello. Hey, that's Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Yeah, and a big thanks to Sam again for having us in the studio with him the other day. Damn you, Stevens, in that Papa Pete voice. So anyway, that's what happened, and it just my life was in shambles with them at the moment, because it was I just come out of all of my favorite bands doing disco shit, right? Everybody from the Stones to the Kinks to Queen to Kiss to who are my other ones? Did I say Sweet already? Who's the other ones that did disco? Anyway, a bunch of them did it, and it just was trying times. So when AC/DC, you got to remember, AC/DC put out Back in Black. That same year is when Judas Priest put out British Steel. So it's like freaking kick ass. 1980, boom, new decade. Here we go. Screw disco. I have I'm a bass player now, so I have an understanding, and I have a better. I have the ability to look at it and accept it and appreciate it, because the bass players were kicking ass and having fun. The drummers were bored as shit, and the guitar players were just like, okay, yeah, I'm the guitar player. But those bass players, ooh. So anyway, then so that was 81. I did not see them live during this time, and I didn't even still see them live for this. Next would come Screaming for Vengeance. Now, if you feel so inclined, I would say go British Steel, Hellbent for Leather, Screaming for Vengeance. That's what I would do so far. Okay. If I should write that down or something, just start putting that down. So start with British Steel, go Hellbent for Leather, and then go Screaming for Vengeance. Then dip back and go to Sin After Sin. Okay. This is fun. I think this is a fun way to do it. I might do this. I might just make a playlist in Spotify and just have it, just put those records in that order. So do that. There's a beautiful song on Sin After Sin called Last Rose of Summer. Another one, just like on Hellbent for Leather, Before the Dawn, you won't believe that it's not Butter, that it's Judas Priest. So I did not see this live, but I do own it now. I have the DVD came out when they put out their big box set, which looks like this. Metallurgy. It looks like that. I use this as a storage box now. So, but it's a great box. I mean, it's perfect. Look at that. See? So this concert was on DVD inside here. You can buy it now. It's separate. You can buy that tour. But then I went to JR's Music. That same shop, I don't think it was the one in Pekin. I think it was the one in might have been the one in Pekin. And I found this tour book for it. So yay. I was really excited. So great record. This album, You Got Another Thing Coming. That that song, right? So but it's got the Hellion, Electric Eye, Riding on the Wind. These are all songs that pretty much everybody who's got some aspect knowledge of Judas Priest knows. Then Bloodstone, great guitar intro. Take These Chains. Take These Chains has that feel from, it's kind of a little bit of a pop feel that came from this Point of Entry album. Okay. But it's kicks ass. It's great. Pain and Pleasure. It's kind of a dirge. It's great. Awesome song. Side 2, Screaming for Vengeance. You've Got Another Thing Coming. Fever is great. That one's kind of in the same vein as Pain and Pleasure. And then Devil's Child. What a great way to end the record. So yeah, enjoy that. Then I got back to seeing them live. I went and saw these guys in Chicago at Rosemont Horizon. It was my first trip to Rosemont Horizon, I think. And that's Defenders of the Faith. Defenders of the Faith was right in the midst of still the MTV era, right? So they had the first song, Free Wheel Burnin', was the first video off of this record. On this record too, and I'm sorry, I haven't gone through the track listings for everything, but Jawbreaker comes after Free Wheel Burnin', Rock Hard Ride Free, The Sentinel, Love Bites, Eat Me Alive, Some Heads Are Gonna Roll, which is Some Heads Are Gonna Roll is like the sequel to Metal Gods. I'm not saying that it is, or lyrically it is. It's not. It's just got that same like military, you know, some heads are gonna roll. Yeah, it's great, you know. Okay, so Night Comes Down is next. That's a great ballad. Great ballad. Heavy Duty and Defenders of the Faith. I've never been a huge fan of that part of the record because it's dirgy. So you kind of had the ballad going into this big dirge. And when I say dirge, it's just kind of plodding, which is fine. It's great. I don't have a problem. It's not like I don't like it. It's just, it's not my style. Dio tried doing that when he did a Lock Up the Wolves. Rowan Robertson's pretty much his debut. And he played for Dio on that record, and Wild One was killer. And that was the first single. And I saw the video and I'm like, fuck yeah. But then after that, the album couldn't get out of its own way. I just was like, can we move it along, please? Because everything else up until then moved along and had a great, you know, there were parts that slowed down a little bit, whatever. That was cool. But this whole album just was, I'm like, I'd read a title of a song. I'm like, this is going to kick. Okay, never mind. Oh, this is going to, no. No. So, I mean, you know, Wild One was the only thing. So I went to the concert up there, went with my cousin, and had a blast, and bought the tour book. And look how dirty that is. Oh my goodness. Dear me. Chained to their own high heels. But what a great show. Then they played the US Festival. Oh, and look at this. Cream Magazine. This is going to come up again. This photo, this with this style of outfit, that's going to come back up. So there, I had just some little you know, scrapbooky kind of things going on. Heavy Metal Shootout, Wartime Maneuver featuring leather chains and blood. So there you go. Classic shot of the two guitarists there, KK Downing and Glenn Tipton. So yeah, Cream Magazine from way back when. Here you go. There's a shot from You Got Another Thing Coming, that video. Just kind of that same vibe, everything. But a great tour, man. It was fantastic to see them again. Look at that. There you go. It's like a calendar, man. Fantastic. Love it. Oh yeah. See, there you are. US Festival time. Right there. And there you go. Really, really awesome. Rob, there was no stopping that dude. I mean, he had you, man, on stage. You were like, I'm in everything. You know, really, I don't know how I want to say it. He commanded the audience. I mean, he just took over when he hit the stage. More to come on that aspect real soon. So then after that, is that right? I'm just trying to think all of a sudden. Yeah, I guess that's right. So after that, they put out, no, they put out Turbo. Oh, hold on. I'm so sorry. Where is it? That's so weird. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. Sorry, I got things out of order. That's my fault. That stuff comes in a minute. So then the next year hits, and they've got some more things that are hits. They're still going strong on MTV, right? After having Freewheel Burning, and I don't know that they ever did another video outside of Freewheel Burning. So what we're doing was we're coming up to this point, and we're going to take a short bit here and go through a video. And I may speed through this video a little bit, but I'm looking for two things. All right. And the album at the time was Turbo. So this album, again, when I bought it, it was different. It was more pop. It had more synthy kind of things happening in it. I didn't quite know how to handle that with Judas Priest. It just was a little strange. All right. So I'm putting it on my YouTube music in order. Good. Okay. So Turbo is a great record, though. This one has Turbo Lover, Locked In. Those were the two first videos that they put out on MTV. And Turbo Lover is a single. In fact, I do have my box of singles down here. I didn't go through it to find this. I'll show it to you later, though. And I did have this 7-inch vinyl single for I think it's Locked In. I might have Locked In and Turbo Lover. I would like to know. I think one of them, if I have them both, one of them I think has the same song on both sides. But I'd be eager to know what the B side is to that. Private Property is a great song. These are all very party anthem pop metal songs. Rock You All Around the World. Then it's Out in the Cold. Now, here's the cool thing. Who starts a concert? I just mentioned this on the show the other day. Maybe I mentioned it when I was talking to, I think I was talking with Stuart Corden from Blitz. Be ready to listen to Blitz, their new album too. Check out their first two records. Out in the Cold is their ballad on this, and it's the first song on the second side. So that's interesting. Who starts their second side with their ballad? These guys did. Back in 1980. Well, this came out. Did this come out in 85 or 86? I think it was. Jeez. Why do they have to be so small? Yeah, it is 86. That's what I thought. So they start the second side out. Then they have Wild Nights, Hot Crazy Days. Very reminiscent, very, very reminiscent, oddly enough, of Crazy Nights. That same vibe from Kiss. It's just Wild Nights, Hot Crazy Days. It was kind of wild. And then they have Hot for Love, which is straightforward, very synthy, fast metal, pop metal. Reckless is the last song on the album. It's just a great balls to the wall tune. Not necessarily. No, I mean it's a great song. It's not balls to the wall like dirty down and but it's balls to the wall party biker song. It's great. So that's Turbo. So I went and saw that tour. So here's how it went. Subsequently, I'll just do this really quick. Subsequently, they would put this out from the Fuel for Life tour. Never liked this album cover. I don't understand it. I don't get it. You've got a gatefold album to do all kinds of cool shit. And that's what they came up with. Copper, not even their real logo. I don't know what the frick this is. This is some, I don't know what it's not indicative of anything else. You should have put their big frickin' logo right across. And this Priest Live, okay, it could stay maybe, but This was such a, I don't know. The cover is just, it's a corporate. And then look at this, a kick-ass picture in the middle. I'm like, it's the whole gatefold on the inside. And look, they have these cool pictures, but they're just dinky little pictures. They're gorgeous. The colors are gorgeous. And this copper, which is very reminiscent of For Those About to Rock, right? The follow-up to Back in Black, kind of interesting. I just didn't understand it. I didn't get the cover. I'm like, I'm happy to have it. I want it. So Out in the Cold, there it is, right there at the top, Out in the Cold. It was really cool because you hear the intro to Out in the Cold, and the band is out there, boom, bap, bap, you know, and then they start the intro, and then this smoke starts to rise, and here comes Rob Halford up the stairway behind. He starts singing before you even see him, and then there's this cloud and a fog, and then he walks through that, and he's singing the song. It's incredible. I'll never obviously I'll never forget it. It was just, now this is a double album. I'm not going to worry about getting it back in the plastic if I can't get it. So no, we're not doing it. It's going to take too long. So in that time period, it's 1986, I'm working on a radio station and I'm away from home. It's the summer, and I'm going to meet my girlfriend, now wife. I was going to meet her at my house in my hometown. So I get close to home, and for whatever reason, I turn on the radio. And I'm not a radio guy. I like cassettes at that time. I make my own cassettes and played those all the time. But for whatever reason, I turned on the radio as I kind of got near to town, around Canton area, right? So I'm driving, and I hear a radio. Well, let's back up a second. Everything happens for a reason, and everything happens when it should. Okay, can we live with that? So I was supposed to turn on the radio. So I turned on 106, 105.7 is what it was, WWCT. And they start this radio promo talking about Judas Priest coming to town. They're touring for their Turbo record. And they're having a contest. A contest. And it's a real contest. You write down your top 3 questions that you'd like to ask Judas Priest. You drop them off at the radio station by this time frame on Friday, which that was that day. And it was already heading into the afternoon. So I didn't have a lot of time. Fortunately, I was near home and I heard that commercial. Otherwise, I'd have been screwed. So I hear the commercial. I'm freaking out. I probably punched it another 10 miles an hour to get home. It's probably not true, but I can't say it wasn't true. So I get home and I start writing my questions. And then, because my handwriting sucked and I was nervous, I had my wife rewrite the questions. Well, I happened to have gone to the record store and got extra album flats of this. Well, I had those album flats at home. So I took my sheet, taped it right on the back of the album flat, and we hopped in the car and hauled ass over to Peoria to drop it off at the radio station. So we get to the radio station. I hand them off. They say, here, pick out a record. Now, that's one of my Mava records that I just replaced with a brand new copy of Bon Jovi's 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit. So they had a shelf down below with a bunch of vinyl on it, and they're going to pick out a record. And so I was like, oh, okay. Pulled out Bon Jovi, 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit. I'm like, oh, thank you. So we go home. They said, we'll let you know by 8:30 tonight. You'll get a phone call if we choose one of your questions. Okay. So I'm like, I mean, that's like telling Santa that we'll let you know if you're going to be delivering the presents. Right. You're like, okay. The only reason that you're going to call me is just so I know when and where to get my tickets, because I know I'm going to win. I know I'm in. This is my band. Right. So I do that. We get them turned in. We go home. We're hanging out. It gets to be about 8 o'clock. It gets to be about 10 after 8. And at that point, my wife decides to ask me or tell me, they're not going to call you. I was like, why would you say that? Well, it's almost over and you haven't heard from them. And I said, I'm in. I got this. And within 120 seconds, that fucking phone rang. And I said, that's Phil Manicki right there. He was the DJ who was fronting this whole thing. You'll see him in a minute. Not very well. He's kind of blurry. But I pick up the phone. I said, hey, Phil, how's it going? And he goes, is this Stuart Johnson? I'm like, yes. And he says, oh, this is Phil Manicki. I go, yes. He says, oh, yeah, well, I'm just calling to let you know that we chose one of your questions and you'll have 2 free tickets for the show and you'll get to come back and ask your question in person after the show backstage. We'll have at the press conference. I'm like, press conference? We weren't the press, but it was a press conference full of fans that had written in their questions. So he'll explain this in the beginning too, when you see this. So if I get it pulled up, I'm sure I can, shouldn't be a problem. But, so that's how that happened. In fact, let's just try pulling it up here real quick. Because the other day it didn't want to share a screen, but yep, there. And here it is. All right. So there we go. All right. So I'll tell you what, so he tells me he's chosen one of my questions. So I'm super excited. I go and I get the tickets and make my way to the show and meet some interesting people. There's even you'll see her. She's a very attractive young gal. She shows up and I ended up giving her an extra one of my posters because I had a huge poster, which I still have back there. A huge poster of the album and the photo that was inside the album. Here, let's take a look inside real quick here. This is really tight. I'm gonna have to put another sleeve on this. It's way too fucking tight. Come on, really? I might just cut this off of here. That's a pain in the ass. Why is it so tight? I don't get it. I do not. Wow. Okay. I'm going to cut it off. That's fargan ridiculous. What the hell? Okay, there. That's probably a stupid move because this is probably the plastic's of a nice quality, but I just don't know why it's so tight. It doesn't have to be that tight. All right. There. So there. Go away. So on the inside, when you pull this out of here, oh no, I'm sorry. No, I guess it was just a poster. Maybe it was in I don't know if it was in something. Anyway, there's this great picture of Rob and the guitar players rocking out. And so I had gotten this, and that's a huge freaking poster. So anyway, I had 2 of those. I gave her one. Then my friend didn't get to go backstage. There is just a little bit more of this story before I show this. So my friend didn't get to go backstage. He had to wait for me outside. But I walk in, and I'd done a lot of theater work over the years and gotten to know people who worked in the theater. Well, one of these guys, his name was Dave Hill, and he worked at a local cable company and did video and audio and video stuff. And so he worked over in Peoria. So I walk in, and there he is. I'm like, Dave, what the hell are you doing here? And he goes, I'm filming this thing. I'm like, fantastic. So it didn't work out for me to get this videotaped by anybody in the area. So I was fortunate enough that on beta, I had recorded that Screaming for Vengeance tour concert, the one I ended up getting on DVD in the box set, but I'd recorded it on a beta tape from some friends of mine had a beta and they did it. And I said, you know what, dude, I didn't get a copy of that. Could you make me a copy? And could you take this beta tape and put that on the same tape? He's like, sure. So he took care of that for me. And that was it. And then here is the video. I'll maybe make some commentary. So this is Phil Manicki, and you'll see the Rivermen. That's our hockey team. So here we go. Really? What's going on?
Sent in 3 questions. We picked the 25 best questions to ask the Judas Priest press conference. First, let me introduce the members of the band. KK Downing here. Hi, everyone.
And he's got to check his notes, which I kind of understand being nervous, but I knew these guys. I'm like, really?
Next, of course, we have Rob Halford.
Of course we have Rob Halford. He checked his notes. Glenn Tipton. And they also made the mistake, Lawton East. That's a spoonerism when he does Lawton East. That's a spoonerism. So you'll notice here they have these microphones on the table, and they have pint glasses.
How did your group get together, actually? How did we get together? Ken and Andrew, the band originally.
There you go.
Rob to join, and then Noel asked me to join, and then we asked Dave to join. That's basically really. It's a very difficult question, but that's basically what happens. You know, when you leave school, you start to rehearse and practice as individuals, and then somebody knows somebody 2 streets away, and you know, it's sort of. There's a lot of getting together, switching up and getting together again. Yeah. I didn't really want to be in the band, but I was the only other guitarist in Birmingham. So I got no choice, really. Okay. Next, we have Marilyn Schneider from Sparland, Illinois. Marilyn, what's your question?
If you had to do something else for a living, what would it be?
These are good.
Interesting question. I'd be a gynecologist. Difficult to follow that one. How about a professional tennis player? Rob? No? Okay. I'll be a porno star.
There you go.
I'll be a brain surgeon.
Ian Hill's
I'll see the gynecologist.
going to be a brain surgeon.
Eric Sherman of Peoria, Illinois. And Eric, your question is, what effect has the video revolution had on heavy metal music in general, and specifically that of Judas Priest? I think basically it's just opened the whole area up again for us, you know. It allows us to let everybody see us in a different light outside of our shows and outside of records. I think it lets people see you in a slightly different dimension. We have a lot of fun when we make our videos, as you've probably seen.
Yeah.
We use all different types of storylines and different plots and stuff.
Yeah. They had some interesting. It's some interesting stuff happening in the Locked In video when you watch that one.
Sells that almost a lot more records or anything like that, but it's a great thing. It's a great pastime, isn't it, to be able to watch some rock videos there and there. It's a good thing. It's good because we've been through 2 eras of heavy metal, really. You know, when it first originated, we were there, and now we're still there with the so-called resurgence. Well, to us, it's never really been that far away because you know we've always had successful tours now. But in general, there was a sort of decline, but you people have kept it there.
There you go.
Next from Peoria, Illinois is Anna Alexander. Anna, your question?
Other than yourself, what other groups do you like to listen to?
We've all got different tastes, you know. You mean in the heavy metal field or just in general? Well, the Scorpions, UFOing, Van Helsing, you name it, it goes on forever, doesn't it, really? We've got to listen to all heavy metal bands, but usually we do that on an awareness level because you have to be aware of your competition or what's happening or what's new or what people want.
Yeah, that's true.
Things that are happening today are really the demand from the kids, so you can never not listen to them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think personally on a musical level, myself, you know, I don't very often listen to rock or heavy metal for an enjoyment level. We write it, rehearse, recorded tours, and get saturated with it. And to me, I like to listen to other things, any form of music, really. And I think that's what makes us a little different as a band, because I know that Rob does as well, and probably can. We listen to a lot of different things, but when we write, it comes out as heavy metal, so it's a little different. You know, there's a lot of melody in there and things like that. So I think that's a good thing, really, from my point of view. Like if you're cruising with the chickens, you put on the Scorpions, you go, oh, turn it down, like, let's get a new mellow on, you know what I mean? It's all around the radio. That type of thing.
Okay, so there's, you can check this out. Just heavy metal, will it be always be around or will eventually fade away? Well, Carrie, I think the Midnight Devils are proof right now, along with so many others, and Saxon, who's on tour, that that it won't ever fade away. It's just there's no reason for it to. We all need to be have some kind of kick-ass music, right? So, it is what it is. Oh man, yes, I did. I did. Um, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find. So I may jump around here just a little bit. Yeah, where did you come up with the name for the band? Okay, here you go. This is it. This is the one part I really wanted you to hear. Okay, I'm not sure, but I think she might have been dating the guy next to her, and he wrote the question. I think that's I could be totally wrong on that, but it sounds like my boyfriend wrote this question, and this is what I was going to read. Uh, Here you go.
Michelle, was it? Do you know any people that don't like singing on because of the last album? Because you obviously probably did. Oh, there you go. But did you know about the next one? That's what I'm trying to say. Did they buy the record? What's their names and addresses? Next we have Eric Turner.
Okay, so hold on.
Eric, your question, please. Who were you influenced by in the earlier days?
Okay, so I'm sorry that didn't have everything in it that I was looking for. All right, hang tight.
To each other and everybody try and give a little and take life, isn't it? That type of thing, There's been a lot of bands that have for a starter, and also that they feel that, as we certainly do, that it's that you have to progress in the music business.
They were being asked, "What's your best album?" and you always feel like it's your new one.
I think we've always felt that anything that we put out has got to be, not only technically but musically and banding-wise better than anything we've done before, because you've got to move with the times. You can't stand still, and you certainly can't go backwards. And so,
Amen, Drew.
The most recent release, the band always considers, or should certainly consider its best release. I'm sure we certainly do. I think Turbo, Screaming for Vengeance, and British Steel are probably my three favourite albums. Although every album's got its merits, ranging right back to Seven's Destiny, and even Point of Entry, which is a little diverse, has got some classic tracks on there.
Yeah, see, that's what we were talking about earlier.
The three that I think are little turning points in the career, little changes. Okay, next question comes from Aaron.
Have you ever made a? Here she is. This is the girl that I was talking about.
Have you ever made a song that you really didn't like at the time, but you went ahead and went with it, and it was your best song you've ever made? And if you did, which one was it?
So you can see why a guy maybe with low self-esteem, there's a pretty girl there, you might want to hand her off a poster.
We usually don't put anything on the album that we don't all like. Yeah, well, thank you for that. So I don't think I can honestly say we've never put a track on an album that we haven't been sure about.
Yeah.
So really, I think the answer is no. I don't think we've ever disliked a song as a band or released a song as a band that we didn't like. Am I right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think we did another thing coming, and we didn't really realise what we had there in the song until you get the reaction from the public.
Yeah. Let's try this here.
Ginger, your question, please. Yeah, Ginger.
Which aspect of your profession do you find the hardest, writing, recording, or touring?
All of them.
What I'm trying to do is find this part where they're talking about at this point in time they almost did a double album.
Good quality melodic modern heavy metal music, you know. It's very easy to go in and do like 24 bars of the riff of A, you know, and then change key or whatever. It's difficult to really write something that is good structurally. It's got melody. It's interesting. It's entertaining. It's good to listen to. That probably is from my point of view the most difficult side of it, because once you've got that down, the rest of it, recording is difficult too, because then you've got to really translate that and make it sound good on record. But actually pulling songs from thin air when you sit down and create something from nothing and make it good, especially when you've got a track record to keep up with over 10 years of making albums, it's pretty difficult, you know. But
Oops, sorry.
perseverance and a bit of burning the midnight oil, it usually comes around in the end.
All right, you ready? Here comes my part.
We have Stuart Johnson from Morton, Illinois. Stuart, your question, please.
Okay, my question, Dave isn't here, but I was wondering, after recording the drum
I'm sorry. Dave isn't here. That's so Cheech and Chong.
drummers, John Hicks, Alan Moore, Simon Phillips, and then Les Binks, after that, how did you find Dave Holland, and what made you decide to get a permanent drummer? Was it
Look at that red hair. It's not so red anymore, but
the success of the band?
We never really wanted a series of drummers. To be honest, it was a series of unfortunate incidents or whatever, you know. It was just fate, really. And because we feel, as we said before, that really the key to a stable band is no personal changes, you know. And so we've never really wanted to do that. And Simon Phillips only did the album because we hadn't got a permanent drummer at the time. He never considered joining the band because our sort of touring is too strenuous for a drummer like Simon Phillips, great session drummer, but to come on the road with a band like us, it would have been much too much for him, you know.
okay, so now here's where I pull my Kobayashi Maru. I'm the guy who gets to sneak in a second question.
And with previous drummers, there was personality differences to start with, but then other things occurred. It was a series of events, unfortunately. And then Dave joined us, and since then, you know, Dave's been a good backbone to the band. And
Was he still with Trapeze then?
he was actually,
When you found him, he was still on Trapeze.
well, yeah, but they were really they worked really well
together.
So
Yeah, because Glenn Hughes had joined Deep Purple, and I think Dave, the existing Trapezers, you know, that we took Dave from was virtually sort of on the split anyway, you know.
Ta-da!
comes from Wendy Gordon from Peoria.
All right, maybe this, I don't know.
When you first started your band, did you think you would come as far as you are today?
Nope, that's not it.
No, I don't think you ever do, really.
Did you think you would come as far as you are today? Will you make a new album? Here you go. This has got to be it. Are you ready?
You have 19 songs written for the Turbo album. We use only 9. Will the other 10 make a new album up in the future?
Pretty much, yeah. We got them pretty. They're all recorded.
Okay, so their answer to this is, I'll tell you why this is really important, and it'll come up here in a minute.
We've got to mix and maybe do a bit of overdubbing, but you might have heard the story that at one point we were going to release a double album, but through logistics and price problems and stuff, it didn't work out. So we picked the songs that we felt were good to put together for one album in the form of Turbo. And we've got some killer material left over, which we will use one way or another, either as another album or as
Very heavy metal.
or as another series of releases with singles, or maybe even on the live album we'll incorporate something, you know. But you won't lose them. In the past we've recorded stuff and it's never been released, you know, collecting dust on shelves and recording studios
Hmm.
around the world. Maybe when it's all over, we might even collect that stuff from the past. But right now, we do have at least 9 songs, I think, isn't it, that we're going to put out. Killer songs.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So, what do you do after touring? Blah blah blah. You can watch all this. Do you think it's necessary for rock groups to make videos? Blah blah blah. So we'll do the ending here, right? But that album that they ended up putting out from the other songs that was very heavy was Ram It Down. Me too. I'd like to thank Dave Hill. Well, thank you. You're welcome, Glenn. If I could have, I'd have said, okay, where do we go from here, guys? Oh man. So it's just really, really what a great night that was. It was an amazing show, just an amazing time. And yes, it's very, very awesome. So cool. Great show, great tour, great video stuff from that. But yeah, this album, Ram It Down, is the one that would come out. Now, I got this, and if you saw the other night when I was doing the records, when I did my integration, you'll notice I showed you the Guns N' Roses album that I have with the original cover art. I got that from Keishi. I was just down there one day speaking with the DJs, the Breakfast Club back then. And there it was. And I was like, you guys, they're like, you want that? I was like, yeah. Yeah. At the time I thought, yeah, but I mean, I didn't know it was like, yeah, because that was that original album cover art. And this was the same. I picked it up, and it has the little, you'll notice it has the little gold stamp there saying that it's a promo piece. So that worked out really well. Let me see if I can put these down here. The reason that I mentioned the double album is because of something that I was considering when I got this new album. Okay, I made a playlist of the last 2 albums, and I called it. Hold on, I can tell you exactly what I called it. I called it the Invincible Firepower Shield. Okay, because it's those 2 records back to back are amazing records. Now, let's take you a walk through here first. So as I went on with Judas Priest, the albums just stayed fantastic. It was amazing. I ended up getting my CD collection up, and you know what? My Point of Entry remastered does not have the other album cover on it. It's got the one that I showed you earlier. So I don't even know why I don't own these on CD, but I burned a copy of Rockarola and Sad Wings of Destiny. I don't understand that. But then here are the 2 albums that I waited on a little bit to show you, because these were reprints that came out later. There was this one, a reprint of Rockarola, and this album, Hero Hero, which was the first couple of albums put onto one collection. So it's kind of weird. But great all the same. But they had these covers by Melvin. Now, for those of us who are gamers, you might recognize this. I think it was a multi-format game. This Melvin artwork was also used on a video game called Ballistic. That might look familiar for you to you from that. I almost bought the game just to have it because it matches this album cover. But this is some very familiar art. And then this Melvin artwork is just really, really cool too. Would not want to meet up with that guy. So those reprints, I bought this one as well, the collection on CD. And then Sin After Sin, Stained Class. And then here you go. I found it. It was in Florida at a flea market. And I found the CD, and it is Killing Machine. I had to buy it. I flipped out. So you can, well, maybe you can see it there even a little bit. There, Killing Machine. I just flipped out. I'm like, oh, yes, I'm getting that. Now, when they put those out, that's where they started taking those songs that they were talking about, which were rarities, and they started putting them on these. Some of these songs, though, I can tell why they didn't put them on there. So this one on Killing Machine is Fight for Your Life, which I believe is a track that ended up on I think it was on Defenders of the Faith. It's a song that they reworked. So this is the original version of it. Fight for Your Life. God, if I could only remember what one it was. Now I don't have the some of the other, the remasters and stuff that have the extra tracks, which didn't bother me because some of those extra tracks, I see why they didn't make it on the record. And, like this one has Thunder Road, which is kind of interesting on the remaster of that one. Point of Entry. Let me see. Screaming for Vengeance includes what? Let's see. Bonus tracks, a lot of live stuff. And then there's the DVD. Oh my God. So for not seeing the concert, there's a whole bunch of footage. That DVD shows up in many different places. So I have that now. I don't have that one. Turbo has an extra track, which is called All Fired Up. And then they have Locked In Live. But All Fired Up, it's pretty good tune. It's a pretty good tune. So I have both of those. I have the regular one and the remaster, because by then I was buying CDs and stuff. Judas Priest Live, which I'm not really a live album guy. Just not. I don't know why I have 3 discs for that. Ram It Down is just regular. And then, so they do, Ram It Down is the last album that they do with Tom Allen. And then in 1990, they release Painkiller, which I was fired up about that. Very excited. This album, if they thought Ram It, if they told the audience the next one in that video, if they told them that next record, Ram It Down, is going to be heavy and hard, this was even heavier. They changed from Tom Allen and they got Chris Sangarides to do the to production on this one. And that's going to come up in another video. But Chris Sangarides, I know him from other projects now, but the only thing I really knew him from was working with Tigers of Pantang. So that was cool. And then subsequently, all these other albums have come out. So you've got, and then now the whole new legacy of stuff is out. So Rob ends up leaving the band. They end up getting Ripper Owens from the tribute band British Steel, and they end up putting out 2 albums, well, technically 3 albums with him, and Jugulator they put out, and why am I not seeing those all of a sudden? I don't know where those are. That's kind of weird. Huh. Oh, and Demolition was the other one. That's really weird. I don't know where the hell they are. It's very strange. I got a single. I know the CDs are back there. That's really strange. So anyway, those come out. Ripper Owens does a great job. The songs maybe aren't as Judas Priesty as they could be. They're a very different direction, and I don't quite understand it. But that's just the way it goes. But then some other cool things to make note of before I take off here soon is to talk about. I can use my shelf. It's right there. is to talk about one of the first things that happens outside of and I didn't grab that one, is the first thing to happen for Rob Halford outside of Judas Priest is Fight. He does Fight, and then he puts out doop 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 this album with Mr. 9 Inch Nails. They put out this album, Voyeurs, by the group 2. So there you go. But yeah, Trent Reznor worked with him on this, and it was very strange. It was just kind of interesting. You know what? This might have been actually before Fight. I think this was maybe before Fight. It was different. Not horrible, but different. But then Halford hits, and I mean, come on. If you have never heard this Resurrection record, do it. It's killer. My buddy Mike Kloschuk played on that. That's who autographed it there. And this album, get the one that's got the extra tracks. This is the original regular one, but there's a version that has extra tracks on it. And then I found this recently down at Frenchtown Records and picked it up. It's a whole collection of his stuff, and then it also has a DVD with it. That's really cool. Then, of course, you have the legacy of, speaking of Ripper Owens, the legacy of KK's Priest. So do yourself a favor and check that out, because it is very worthwhile. I'm very proud of these guys, especially for taking Burning Witches out on tour with them. I love that band. They've put out constant great records. You know, we may not love, I mean, maybe you don't love all of them. I don't know. Check them out. They're all, in my eyes, they're all worthy. You know, maybe I like this one better than that one, but they're all good. And I'm really proud of those guys for taking them out. Just like Scorpions, I've mentioned it before. Scorpions took Thunder Mother out on tour. And if you have not checked out Thunder Mother, do it. Rob Halford also in this movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that started it all. He would have a song on this one. Light Comes Out of Black by Rob Halford on this one. Great song. Just like, is this the one that has Party with the Animals? Yeah, by Ozzy Osbourne on it. This is a great record. So check it out. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then here's another thing. I also have this album by Halford as well. Crucible. It's good stuff. Is that, and then the live, is it called Live Insurrection as well by Halford? So check that out. There's also this. I don't know how many of you have ever seen this. Rob Halford in Black Sabbath. There you go. So if you can find this bootleg, it's great. It's cool to have. I'm very, very happy to have it. And it has all kinds of great tracks on it. Actually, Light Comes Out of Black is on here. That's pretty crazy. Jeez whiz. They say it's Pantera featuring Rob Halford. So Pantera is the band on that song that's from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's got Goddamn Devil on it, which is Ugly Kid Joe featuring Rob Halford from America's Least Wanted. And then Delivering the Goods, which is Skid Row featuring Rob Halford. It's from the B-side of Ourselves. Let's see. Yeah. Then it goes on with the Judas, or with the Black Sabbath stuff. Has Mob Rules, Computer God, Children of the Sea, Symptom of the Universe, NIB, Die Young, Into the Void, Heaven and Hell, Supernaut Neon Nights, Wizard, Christmas Ride, from Fight, War of Words. And then the Wizard is from Nativity in Black, the Black Sabbath tribute. And then live from Pacific Amphitheater in Costa Mesa, Los Angeles, November 19th, 1992. Halford, Iommi, and Butler in a Piece, or Apathy. Children of the Grave, Children of the Sea, Symptom of the Universe, NIB, Die Young, Into the Void, Heaven and Hell, Sweet Leaf, Neon Nights, and then they have the band, which is then they have Osborne, Iommi, Butler, and Ward doing Black Sabbath, Fairies Wear Boots, Iron Man, Paranoid, Mr. Crowley. That's from the Bathead Soup Ozzy Osbourne tribute. Vocals by Tim Ripper Owens. Wow. Okay. So lots of cool stuff on this. There you go. I don't know how easy it is to find. I don't even know where the hell I found it. So that's pretty much how it all happened. One of the last things I'll show you, this was just a bonus thing. When I went out to California recently, I got to, I had an interview with Niels Lozauer, and I'll be working with that a little bit and putting it out here so you can see it. I may be breaking it up into some pieces because it was a great interview, a great time. And before I show you those, I'll tell you the story of how that happened. But I'm so thankful that it happened, and I'm very blessed that it happened. It was a great show with Neil, with Lowe's. So if you've seen Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg in it, when he joins the band and they're having photographs taken, that's Niels Lozauer taking those pictures. And he took it real easy on those guys, because watch his film on YouTube called In Your Face, the Niels Lozauer story. Here's my vinyls too, by the way. I bought the autographed first one, Sermons of the Sinner, and KK had signed it, so that was cool. And there's the new one too. I have that one on vinyl as well, and CD. They both came on CD as well. So, but I went to California. I made it up to my friend Mike Floros, made it up to his place, spent the night. We did some recording in the morning, worked on a theme track for this show, and then we took a drive into Hollywood and went to Zloz's studio, which is now, he's retired and it's full of motorcycles. So it's pretty cool. But to stop in, say hi to him, have some lunch, and hang out was just, it was exciting. It was great. I thank him a million times for doing that, taking the time out. And then I picked up his new, at the time, the second Eddie Van Halen book that he put together. So I bought that from him, and he said that he had an idea, but then he asked me what was my favorite band, and I said Iron Maiden, and he goes, "What's your next favorite band?" I was like, Judas Priest. What's your next favorite band? There's so many. I'm looking at Van Halen, but I got Van Halen because I got the book and I got all the stuff. I don't know, and I don't know, Kiss, whatever, But by then he's like looking through a drawer, and he looks in there and he goes, "Oh, wait, I do have a Judas Priest. Hold on." And he pulls this out and he shows it to me, and I fell in love with this picture because this is what Rob looked like when I saw him first. This was from that 1979 into 80 era. And so he got the picture out for me that he took and autographed it for me and gave it to me. And I framed it when I got home, and it hangs in my guest room of Rob Halford there. There you go. To Viking Stew, Niels Lozauer. So really, really cool. It was really neat to have that. And I suppose I do have one more thing. A while back, they put out this cool, speaking of that photo, they put out this cool Funko Pop as well of that same time frame. There he is with the mic and a whip. Nothing like a life with a mic and a whip. Cool whip. So there you go. It's the 50, what do they call it? The 50 metal years. 50 heavy metal years. There you go. Rob Halford. So, yeah. So I got to take that out of there sometime and just put him up. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging with me today. I thought that was a lot of fun. I'm going to go and eat my Reese's egg just for fun, just because I deserve it or whatever. Mr. 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. If you, yeah, it's good to know of them. It's even better to listen to them. So do that. It's really, really cool. It's great stuff. I really, really super enjoy it. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. And thanks for chiming in on the chat. I'm going to have Bethany Heartstone's going to be in here. And she and I are going to start this series of shows. Bethany and I are going to do shows about women with Volume 1 next week. So make sure that you're here for that. And pretty soon we'll be having Aaron Hagar on as well. So take it easy, folks. All the best to you. We'll see you on Go Game Go later tonight.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Rock it.